My name is Andreas Armenis. I'm the Assistant Director of Pre-Collegiate Outreach Programs. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm super excited to work alongside Ryan in the Office of Pre-Collegiate Outreach Programs. And we're super excited to host today's webinar for you. So I'll leave the floor for Ryan to introduce herself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited. Summer is my favorite time. I've been working with pre-college programs for several years now. I love the summer. I love the excitement, seeing students learn. And so we're really excited that we were able to bring Launch to a virtual format to still engage with students at their own houses, engage them with professors, with their peers, and just to see them grow and have fun, right, with STEM. So thank you.
Awesome. So welcome to today's webinar again. So a little bit about the agenda of how today's webinar is going to look. We're going to talk a little bit about the program, sort of the ins and outs, how it all works. We'll talk about the various launch programs that we're offering, the different STEM focus and tracks that high schoolers could take advantage of. And then we'll also talk about our wraparound services that are absolutely free of cost. And those are both the orientation and the community building activities that are looped into this program. And then we're going to wrap up with some questions and hopefully amazing answers for you all so you can learn a little bit more about our launch program. So about the program, so Launch is for rising 9th and 10th graders in high school. This program is dedicated for students that are interested in exploring a STEM topic of their choosing alongside WPI faculty and undergraduate and graduate student teaching assistants. So overarching at a glance, this is a 1-week online program. We are offering both morning and afternoon sessions for different launch tracks. Our hope is to offer small class sizes of around 10 or so students per each session. And then you're going to be learning online live with WPI faculty and undergraduate students. Each day, the launch program will look like about 3 hours of instruction, which includes presentations, demonstrations, hands-on activities, and small group discussions for you to connect with both other high schoolers that are in the same morning sessions or afternoon sessions as you, as well as WPI faculty and undergraduate students teaching the actual content of the course. You'll also have the ability to partake in optional evening activities for community building. And this is purely there for us to continue the growth outside of the classroom, right? So we know that this is a chance for you all to dive deep into a STEM conversation, but we also are aware it's a summer, and it's all part of the summer is about having fun and engaging with students both inside the classroom and also outside the classroom. So we're looking to host a variety of different community builders that you can partake with other high school students that are in the launch program. And overall, the program costs about $299, and that also includes the free evening activities as well as orientation to the program. So a little bit about how this all works. So Launch Virtual will take place from August 3rd to the 7th of this year. Folks will be able to register on a first come, first served basis on our website. Right when you visit our website, you'll be able to see a register now button right at the top that will take you up to the registration page. Each discipline that we're offering for Launch is offered in a morning and an afternoon session. So the morning and afternoon sessions are based on Eastern time zone. So our morning session is looking at 9 a.m. to about noon every day. And then afternoon session is looking about 1 p.m. to about 4 p.m. every day. And so the programs are all offered in a virtual format. And these programs may include potential presentations, hands-on exercises, demonstrations, and also team projects that you will interact with other high school students that are in the same track as you virtually with. All course materials vary per each course, but all the software that is included is free. So there is the price tag of $299, but there may be additional course materials that may need to be purchased depending on the track. For example, robotics offers an additional robotics kit that will be roughly a little bit under $200 that students will be required to purchase in order to complete the hands-on
So,
exercises that come with that track.
so Andres, that actually is for the Frontiers program.
Oh,
There is a robotics kit to purchase for the launch program, but it's about $65.
okay.
So students do have to purchase that robot, but that is a robot that you can keep, and you can continually to use and to program on your own. As far
Awesome.
as as far as biology and physics, there are some household supplies that we will email to students in advance,
Awesome.
a few weeks in advance, so you have time to get them. But the supplies are mostly household things that you would have around for them just to gather for the program.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for adding that in.
You're welcome.
So a little bit about the programs, right? So both Ryan and I mentioned robotics and biology, but these are sort of the list of offerings that we're looking to host this summer. So we have apps for good. We also have biology, electrical and computer engineering, interactive media and game development, physics, and also robotics. Full descriptions of each of the tracks are available online on our website, and those go into detail about a little bit about how each of the programs will function and what students will learn throughout the time of their program. So a little bit about the wraparound pieces. So we are looking to offer both a orientation for launch as well as a technological development per se. We're looking to host that Friday, July 30th, a series of tech webinars that will focus in on Zoom, Canvas, online learning platform, which is the online learning platform that students that are registered for launch will be using to dive deep into the course material, as well as Outlook. So we're looking to host those series of webinars just to get students acclimated to the technology that we're looking to use throughout the duration of the program. And then August 2nd, we are looking to host our orientation to the actual program. And this is open to both families and students and will be a welcome and overview about WPI. Again, a reiteration and an overview of the technology that we will be using throughout the program, as well as how to acclimate to online learning and get the most out of your launch experience with Online Learning 101 tips and tricks. So we're very excited about hosting that orientation session. Community building and sort of the virtual activities. One of the things that makes our launch in-person program the best that it is the community building feel and the connection that you have with other launch participants during the duration of your program. We're looking to bring that same feel and that same atmosphere to our online and our virtual program. So we're looking to offer a variety of different virtual activities that are optional but free for students to take advantage of to help build community with other high schoolers that are in the program as well. These include Netflix watch parties, special interest activities like Dungeons and Dragons or Minecraft, online e-game tournaments potentially, virtual wellness activities, as well as virtual escape rooms, and much, much, much more. So we're super excited to host these virtual community building options for students because we understand that building community outside of the classroom is just as important as connecting with folks inside the classroom. And so we're very excited about hosting these variety of different activities throughout the duration of the program. So overarching, that's a little bit about what Launch Virtual will look like for this summer. I understand that I went through a lot of information. So I want to sort of give the time and the floor to you all to ask us any specific questions you might have, whether that be about program tracks, about the orientation, the different kind of events that we might be hosting. So feel free to take some time right now, think about some questions that you might have. We have a chat feature below that you can add those questions in, or a Q&A feature as well. And I'm going to sort of hand over the floor to Ryan to chat a little bit more about, or hopefully answer those questions for you. So
Thank you.
yeah,
So before we get started on some of the questions that you guys have, I'm just going to take a few minutes to elaborate on the 6 programs that we do have. So there are full descriptions online. I had put the link in the chat feature so you can refer to that. but just to highlight a few of them. So Apps for Good, students will be working on coding on a website that they can use after the program. So we really want to provide the foundational skills to learn with us, but then continue that learning adventure, right, on your own. So the professor will be going over some computer science concepts, solving problems, kind of using technology to solve problems in the world or issues that students see. So they'll be reviewing the life cycle, kind of from the launch of developing an app, the brainstorming the core concepts, all the way through to the pitch, right, of pitching it to an entrepreneur or something like that. So the first 2 days will be getting familiar with the coding platform, kind of seeing where students are, whether students are in the beginning stages of learning coding or they're more advanced. Depending where you are, the professor will work with you along with the undergrad student who's the teaching assistant. And then Wednesday through Friday is kind of working on projects. And then Friday is presenting the project to the class, which is a great experience for any students. So that's Apps for Good. Biology, it's a great description there that describes what students will be learning. But really working with students to be global citizens, right? And figure out what they want to discover about the world and how to do that. So there will be a workbook provided for at-home guided presentations, things for them to investigate and kind of report back to the class. There'll be many presentations. Liz is the graduate PhD student who's the teaching assistant along with the professor, and they're a fantastic duo. For there will be a supply list for that of household things, and then there will be some items such as goggles or pipettes or things like that that we will mail to students for that. For electrical and computer engineering, definitely electricity and circuits, right? When you read the description and that's what you get from there. So they will be using a software, Multiism, and using that software to design, build, and test circuits. So that professor has been teaching a long time at WPI. He's pretty awesome. He has great humor, really there for the students. He's awesome. So interactive media and game development. So there will be 2 software platforms that we'll be using. So it's ZBrush and Maya. Students can come in with experience or not. We definitely work with the students, again, with the small classrooms. We're able to work with students on a small group or right on a one-on-one basis with the TA or the faculty member. So there are some pre-recorded materials for that program that the professor ideally would like for students to watch ahead of time or on their own. And then during class, during that live session, really interacting with students and engaging, like learning new critiques or reviewing their work and presenting it out to the group. What technical questions do they have and what they're trying to do or what they envision. So for physics, this is a awesome hands-on experiment-based program. So the professor is a lot of fun. He wants the students to have fun. As you can read in the description, there are many topics of physics to be covered. So particles of light, black holes, laws of physics. There is some math involved, which is great, right? All sciences and engineering are based in math, right? So refreshing on that in the summer is great. The professor will be doing a lot of demonstrations at home, and then students will be replicating that experiment on their own at home. And then robotics. So robotics, there is a robot kit that students do have to purchase on their own. It's about $65, but they do get to keep the robot and then continue learning with that through the summer and the year on their own. So students will be learning how to program in C++. And so there'll be a presentation given. Students will work on the robot, have questions during that session, build it, code it, and then kind of keep repeating that same schedule throughout the time. So that is a little bit about the programs. So Andreas,
Awesome.
what questions do we have here?
Yeah. So right here, one of the quick questions that came up multiple times is, will the orientation be will be in Zoom format virtually like this one?
Yes, yeah. So we will be using Zoom. That's what WPI uses as a video sharing platform. So we will have tutorials on Friday, July 31st to answer any questions or to make sure students are set up on that. But that is our platform. We also will be using Canvas, which other students, so for high school, they may be using Google Classroom, like Blackboard or different things. So the course will have a kind of a website dedicated to that course with all the material, the videos, interaction for chat with students, all of those pieces. And we will also be having a video tutorial on that on July 31st as well.
Very nice. Awesome. So sort of, I have a couple questions here that are specific to the software and the type of equipment requirements for the program. So is an iPad potentially sufficient to access courses and software used throughout the duration of launch?
So it depends what program you're looking into, right? So an iPad does have Zoom capabilities and an internet browser. So you could go on Canvas and a few of those. With IMGD, interactive media and game development, you could not use an iPad. You do need a computer that is at least ideally 2016 and more current. But if you have specific questions about that, definitely email us and I can look into that. There are a few computer specs that I do have from the faculty member, but I'm not exactly familiar with how computers are set up and all the gigs and stuff like that. So I can look into that. But for the programs that do not have software, for that you could. So you could use the iPad for robotics and a few of those others, but just let us know what program you're interested in with using an iPad.
Awesome. And so the next question here that we have is, how do you, I think it's regarding staffing. So how do we select the graduate students that do help teach in the class?
Yeah, so great question. We hire WPI faculty to teach the courses, and then they hire their own teaching assistant. And that teaching assistant may be an undergrad or a grad or a PhD student, depending who is working in their lab or the faculty member believes that they are good at teaching and some of that engagement with younger students. So the faculty member kind of identified that teaching assistant. But as far as security and all of those pieces, faculty, teaching assistants, people in our office, anyone who engages with the launched student does have a CORI background check to make sure that just kind of all of those logistics and it's all safe for the students, so that it's taken care of too.
Awesome, thank you. And so for the physics and for the video game development tracks, is there any previous or prior experience needed in order to participate in those?
Great question. There's no prior experience required. So a lot of our programs, they kind of give you, in the beginning, the professor will kind of gauge where students are, what experience they have, and they will give information and presentations, and students can move forward kind of at their own pace or their own, starting where their knowledge base is and move on. And if your student has any further questions, whether it's beginner or advanced or anything, they'll work with students. And it's such a small class, it's great because they'll have that personalization right in the conversations.
Awesome. Thank you. And so I see there's a couple questions in here, which is awesome about taking potentially multiple tracks or multiple programs throughout launch. And then there's another question in here also talking about whether a morning session and an afternoon session of two different programs are manageable. So could we share a little bit about our thoughts on that?
Yeah. So say for instance, biology, it's the same content in the morning, in the afternoon session. So if you do want to do two sessions, you definitely could. You would just have to pick two different tracks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. If you do that, I would just say you would want to just be aware that the student would be learning all day. So making sure that they have a good space in their house to concentrate and do that. It is great because our programs are not 100% online or on Zoom, right? So some of it is discussion based, some of it's project, right? Thinking, brainstorming, and hands-on, right? Maybe biology, some of the sessions are observing things in your house or in your environment, outside, reporting back and seeing that. So they're definitely hands-on, virtual, right, classes, but you could definitely do two different programs, one for the morning and one for the afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And
You're
so
welcome.
I have a couple of other questions here. So, where can the community activities or the evening activities be accessed for students? So, could you share a little bit about that?
Mhm. So all of the information that we provide to students will be on their Canvas site, right? So for instance, if you're in Apps for Good, there'll be a Canvas site, which is a website, and all of the information for the course will be on there, okay? And so there'll be another Canvas site for the launch program in general. All of our information from our office and outside of the classroom will be posted there. So if you are having challenges with your computer, right, and you need some frequently asked questions or a tutorial or a pre-recorded video on how to access something, that will be there. If you are looking to participate in one of the evening activities, right, for the community building, if it's for Dungeons and Dragons Online. All of those links and the information will be on that one website. So we really want to try to make it like a one-stop shop, right? We don't want you to be looking through emails or different sites or our website for different information, right? So they'll have this one site for Canvas, and they'll go to that one place and find the answer. So it's really easy for the students.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And I see a couple of questions in here specific to the biology track
Mhm.
and about sharing a little bit more detail about some of the track topics or things that students will potentially explore in there. And so for those that have specific questions about maybe diving deeper a little bit, we're happy to reach out to the faculty and get additional list of what topics will potentially be discovered or discussed within the tracks. So just feel free to send us an email if you're looking for additional information track specific to pop@wpi.edu, and that's pop at wpi.edu, and we're happy to reach back out to the faculty and connect you with that additional information for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All of our faculty are fantastic, right? They're fun. They like to teach undergrads, but they also like to engage with high school students in the summer. It's very different, right? I mean, a lot of our high school students are excited. They want to learn about science and engineering in the summer, right? When they don't have to, it's their passion. And it's great because students will connect with their peers, right? They'll find students with similar interests, which is great during the summer, during a pandemic, right? When there's limited social interaction, they can find some other peers to connect with.
Awesome, Ryan. And so I have a couple questions in here about sort of the completion of the course. So upon completion of the different program tracks, is there a certificate or credits that are given to students?
Yeah. So once a student completes a program, we will be mailing certificates for them, which is great. Students can hang it up on their wall. I know some students collect all the WPI certificates from all the programs they accomplished. So they will get that. There is no college credit. It's a non-credit high school program, but they will get a certificate.
Awesome. And so, can you share a little bit about sort of any testing or there's a question in here about will there be any tests or graded work associated with the program?
Yeah. So this is a non-credit program. So for these types of programs, there are no homework or exams given. So we really want this to be a STEM exploratory program. We really want students to be engaged, ask questions, and kind of explore that discipline on their own without the worry of grades or exams, which is great for students to explore in the summer. I know for biology, they will be giving students additional experiments or things that they can explore on their own during non-class time. They don't have to do it. These are just things that the students can do on their own because we want to provide additional resources for students to continue learning and exploring biology during non-class time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so just a question here about orientation. Specifically, can you share sort of the time frame of which orientation will happen on August the 2nd?
Yeah, so August 2nd, which is a Sunday, the day before classes, we will have orientation. So we will give you a welcome from WPI, from our staff, explain a little bit more of the program so everyone's situated. We will have some community building activities on that Sunday for students as well. And we will have staff office hours so that we can answer any questions that students or families have, whether it has to do with the course content or the technical piece of it. We are virtual, but Andreas and I and our staff are here for students, right? We may not be in the same physical space, but we are here. And then the sessions on the Friday before. So we wanted to have online tutorials for students prior to the course. And so the previous business day, right, from that Monday is that Friday, July 31st. So there is a session at 11 and then another one at 1. I know one of them is a tutorial about Zoom. Another one is about Canvas. And we will be working with the help desk to add some other sessions on that Friday. Students, as part of this program, they will be getting a WPI email address. So you can access the software, the Canvas site, and some of the additional resources. So there will be instructions sent to students to set that up. But we will have tutorials on the Friday prior to go through setting up an email address, answering any questions, and testing sound on laptops and different things like that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing, Ryan. There is a question here a little bit more diving into interactive media and game development. So could you share a little bit about the software that is used for that particular program?
Yeah, so as far as the pieces on software, I know ZBrush and Maya are used. And so, right, and so students will be creating a character model and then setting it up for animation. So in this course, there is a lot of creativity, but then technical skills. And so I don't know, so Maya is for animating, and so I don't know the exact details, but if you send me the question, I can get you the answers. I was a math major in school. I was not a game development person, so I only know so much. But yeah, both of those softwares do require a laptop or a desktop that is more recent, right? As I said earlier, either 2016 or more current. And so, I mean, the specs that I have from the faculty, they said a minimum of an i5 and a dedicated video card from AMD or NVIDIA. NVIDIA, Intel Graph. Yeah. So anyways, so if you have specific questions about that, and I can get descriptions of the software and how we'll be using them if you would like to, you can just email us at pop@wpi.edu.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And so there is a question here about tests and quizzes one more time, Ryan. So can you just
Yeah.
confirm a little bit about that for each program?
Yep. There'll be no tests, quizzes, or homework. Professors will be giving additional resources for students that they can continue learning about if they would like. But this is strictly a STEM exploratory program. It gives a little bit of a different feel, a little bit more fun, relaxing for the younger high school students if there's no tests or exams.
Also, and so the next question is about the student to teacher ratio for each program.
Mhm. Yep. So we are aiming to have 10 students in each class. Some are more popular than others, but the ratio will be 1:5. Robotics, there is only one session, so we are looking into maybe going to 15 students, but we would add another staff member there. All of the sessions have morning and afternoon except for robotics. They only have an afternoon session. They only have one.
Awesome, thank you. And so just continue over here. So there's a question here about continuing potential work with WPI faculty. So it says, will program participants have the chance to continue to work and engage with the faculty if they start on an interesting project and it's okay with the faculty?
Great question. It's interesting that was your question, because I was just chatting this morning with one of the faculty members from IMGD, Interactive Media and Game Development. He actually, I had asked him if there was anything interesting that he wanted me to share with folks this morning. And he said he is actually in contact with 2 launch participants from last year who had some cool ideas, and the 2 students are actually working together to, they're working together in a junior game design studio. So they're developing a game and everything like that together, and they're still in touch with the faculty member. So they make a connection and have things to chat about and move forward from there. I would say our faculty are always on board with that. I know our robotics faculty member, Professor Miller, is in touch with many younger students. He teaches our programs in the summer. He's very busy, typically, all 5 weeks with us. But he's still in contact with a lot of younger students that end up coming to WPI as undergrads.
Awesome. And so I have a $1 million question here in this Q&A
Yeah.
chat. And this $1 million question is, will attending the launch program help my child get into WPI?
Great question. So I will say that, so start backing up a little, admissions at some schools for undergrad admissions do look at demonstrated interest from students. And WPI is one of those schools. So if students are interacting with a college, whether it is a pre-college program, such as Launch or Frontiers, whether they are attending an open house, an info session and a tour, if a college counselor comes to the high school and the student has a conversation with them, any type of engagement is tracked in college systems, WPI being one of them, right? So it does look favorable for a student who is applying to WPI as an undergrad, but it does not guarantee admission. Just want to be clear, right? It does not guarantee admission. It does not get student into the school per se, because there's many factors that go into admission at a college, but it does look favorable there. And so Andreas, I mean, do you want to add anything there? Andreas actually has an interesting role. He works with summer programs, but he also works with admissions very closely.
Yes.
He has a dual role in both departments.
Yeah. So thanks so much for sharing that, Ryan. So typical to or similar to what Ryan shared, the launch program when looking or reviewing an admissions application to WPI, we look at that as a form of demonstrated interest, right? So that's something that we do value, and it shows your interest in first and foremost WPI and how you've continued to cultivate that interest throughout the years and as you prepare to make your college search process. So that's something that we do value and we do look at when reviewing applications. So, but like Ryan does say, there's a variety of different other factors that do play into a student's holistic admission into our institution. And so, although it is one of the things that we love to see, it does not make an applicant accepted or automatically in to our institution. But it's very nice to see. So yeah, thanks for adding that in there. I do have, there's another question in here too, Ryan, about potentially having a rising junior be able, if there are open spots, to be able to join the launch program. Is that something that that is possible for this summer?
Yeah, so we have our two high school programs are actually the ones that we moved virtual this year. And so launch is for 9th and 10th graders. And so we do stay strict to that grade level. But there is a program for rising 11th and 12th graders, which is our Frontiers program. And so Frontiers for credit, that is, you actually earn college credit, which is great, amazing. I wish I did it as a high school student. And so we do have a new webinar coming up for Frontiers, which is June 4th, I think at noon. And so if you go on our website, you can take a look at that. But that may be of interest to the 11th grader that's here joining us. No matter your grade, there's always a way to interact with us and to continue learning about STEM. We need more STEM folks in the world, right? With creative thoughts.
Yes,
So check that
exactly.
out.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And then I have one final question here that I see, and it's regarding faculty engaging with students from different learning backgrounds, right? So say a student comes in with a not as much experience in a specific track, how do faculty sort of work with students from different levels?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say there's many different avenues the faculty would take. The main two, one would be giving them resources, whether it was video tutorials or additional information to kind of gain some of that background and traction before the program or during it. If the student was interested in learning at a faster pace or more information during the program. The other piece would be kind of challenge at your own risk, right? Challenge at your own pace. So for instance, I know in robotics, there's many different challenges that they lay out for students. So there may be, I know in the summer, right, when I go in the classroom, right, and there's the whiteboards and they have challenge 1 through 10. And students will work with a partner or themselves and they'll work on challenge 1, figure it out, the basics, and then show the professor, and then they kind of move on to the second one. So students, depending on their foundational background in that skill, in that area, will progress at a different pace, right? And that's perfectly fine. And then students who, if they're a beginner and they don't make it all the way through, then they can take those additional pieces and do it in the other time frame, right? That they're not in class or later on. So they still have access to that content, but just progressing at their own pace.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan. I think that's it for questions here. If folks have any other questions, they're more than happy to add them into the chat. We also, I know that we shared this multiple times before, but if you have, say you're eating lunch or eating a sandwich after this and you're like, oh, I really wish I asked that, you are more than welcome to email our office. Our office is pop at wpi.edu. Feel free to email us and we're happy to answer any additional questions that might come up. We're
Thank
also very active on social media. So we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook. So please follow our social media handles at WPIPOP. And we'll be happy to connect with you there as well.
So great. I just see one other question that someone had written in the Q&A a little bit ago. So for a rising 10th grader who has already taken honors biology, would the bio session give them more information? So yes, it would. And so we really try to do a lot of hands-on material in the classroom in WPI summer programs that are not in the classroom or the curriculum in a K through 12 school. And we also, right, part of WPI's mission and vision in teaching students is project-based learning, right? So our goal is to teach them the information in the discipline, but also the critical thinking skills, problem solving, and really thinking outside the box, right? So taking biology, for instance, and the information your student has, right, in honors bio, kind of taking that and thinking like, okay, what are some of the issues in the world that are related to bio, right, that thinking outside the box could solve, or how can we investigate that further, right? And so there are high school students all over who do engage in research, right, at different places. And so maybe some of the skills in investigation or with us or working with the faculty member and his student over the summer can help raise some of those questions, right, and further investigate that. So there is more that she can take away from that.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. We're super excited to share this information about our upcoming virtual experience and launch with you all. We hope that you enjoyed today's information session. And we hope you all have a wonderful rest of the weekend.
Yes, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Take care, folks. Awesome.